for our regular Board of Trustee meetings. Call the meeting to order.
And I'll call the roll. Mr. Genowine. Here. Mr. Crandall.
Here.
Mr. Mahoney.
Here.
Simcoe. Here.
Pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This being the first meeting of the year, it's a reorganization meeting of the Board of Trustees. Until we pick a chairman, Dave will entertain motions and comments. And before we do that, I'd like to have on the agenda, under open discussion, a report on the city council meeting in regard to annexation. Okay. And Mike Cassidy's here, and he attended the meeting. He'll fill us in.
Hey, with all due respect, and Mike, would we move it up for Mike instead of having Mike around for an hour and a half? Mike, do you want to come up and appreciate your time tonight?
Well, no, let's, we got to set the board up first.
Maybe we should get the board set up.
Okay, we'll set up the board, then we'll have Mike come up.
Yeah.
Well, let's figure out.
We've got a long list of things.
Yeah, we do. Maybe we could put him.
How about just after the reorganization of the Board of Trustees?
Before the minutes?
Yeah, that's fine.
That's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
So it's the first meeting of the year, and we have our reorganization of the Board of Trustees, and the first order of business would be for the trustees to elect a chairman of the board. So do we have a nomination for chairman of the Board of Trustees?
I nominate John Crandall.
Second? Okay. Seeing no other nominations, I'll call the roll. Mr. Genowine? Yes. Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
And so we would have nominations for a vice chairman of the board. We have a nomination for a vice chairman of the board.
I'll nominate Neil Mahoney. And my thinking is we've got this annexation thing, we've got the land use plan. I think those are multiple year projects, and I'd like to concentrate there. But I also think we've got some human resource issues. I'm hoping, Neil, you started, and rather than me jump in, I hope you complete those. That is my thinking on that.
Not a problem.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. We'll call the roll. Mr. Genowine? Yes. Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Okay, I will turn it over to Mr. Crandall.
Oh, you know what? Actually, just one more thing. Now that you're the chairman, I see the Tallisons are here too. Do you want to move them up front tonight too? Or?
Sure.
Okay. Sorry.
If you want to continue the meeting, just...
No. Here, let me give you this, by the way.
Change seats, how's that? All right. Let's do it this way. Okay. Yes, let's start with Mike Cassidy, a report on the city council meeting.
Thanks.
Mike, step up here and we'll need your address, please.
Sure. My name's Mike Cassidy, and I'm 7335 Kings Walk Lane. And I have no prepared remarks, but I'll do the best I can from what I recall in the meeting. The city went through their normal, meeting agenda, and then at the end, they said nothing was on the schedule to talk about annexation, but since the place was packed with people, they agreed to let, I think, 4 people come up and speak. Now, the first gentleman, I don't recall his name, but he was a resident that moved in to the township and worked out all his finances ahead of time because he wanted to send his kids to a parochial school, and was working about the taxes and all the pros and cons of being in the township versus being in the city. And I believe he's self-employed and probably is concerned about the 1.5% income tax that he was going to get whacked with if the annexation goes through. So he was very eloquent and put on a nice presentation. He had prepared remarks. I think he had been to a meeting prior, and he had a lot of good information and background, I think, on why he didn't want to be annexed. The second person was a woman, I believe was a realtor, and she went into a lot of detail as well about being, in the township, and what was great about being in the township, and the fact that she didn't have to, dictate to her who's going to pick up her garbage, and, because she could pick and choose whoever she wanted to, and she thought there were more affluent people in the township, based on the fact that they didn't have to pay the 1.5% income tax. She was very eloquent as well, and, well-spoken. The third gentleman, I can't remember exactly. The fourth one was an attorney, and he pretty much put the mayor in his place, I believe, in the sense that he said he was doing tactics like they complain about the city of Toledo doing to them when it comes to water. Kind of forces it down their throat, and, the way the city set up the water commission, with, veto power with city council over any rate increases. The mayor obviously complained quite a bit about that. And he said, well, you're doing the same thing to us. You're ramming this annexation down our throat without any thought or, advance notification, and it's just a money grab. And that's pretty much what everybody believes it is, just a money grab. I also read some comments after that where it said that the mayor wanted to spend some more money, and he didn't have it in the budget, and the city council put the clamps on him, and, he wants to do this annexation to increase his money flow or income. So that's pretty much what I got out of it. I'm sure I missed some points. Like I say, I wasn't prepared for this, but, that's the best I recall happened.
Thank you, Mike, and I sure appreciate your efforts and the committee's efforts, citizens opposing this. John was at the meeting. John, do you have anything to add?
Well, I think the city's spending, deficit spending, over $600,000, so I think this is a way to offset some of their expenses. So, one of the things I would like to do here tonight is set aside $20,000 from the township to hire an attorney to figure out what our rights are. Certainly, I'm frustrated when we spent nearly $10,000 with Wanda Carter, and we all agreed, or you two agreed, not to fight this annexation. But I think we as a community, and John, I've got the emails that saying that was not a negotiable item with the city of Sylvania, but I think it's in our best interest, and certainly the community has spoken that they want this to be determined, and it's not going to be determined other than legally. So I'd like for us to hire an attorney and figure out where we stand in this. It only makes sense that we take this, by the horns and figure out what we've got going. If they continue to do this, they can't even tell us how many homes they sent the letters to. We've got budgeting and we've got things. Mike McGowan last night pointed out that, our budget could be decimated with this, and certainly the police is going to take the hardest hit, followed by roads and things, and we don't even know what to expect and when to expect it. So, I'd like to set in motion that we set aside the spending and that we hire an attorney. I know Chuck Bloom has been a resource for the township in the past. I don't know if he'd be the right person, but certainly he's got a lot of knowledge and things, and he might be a way to go, but I think the township should finally step up and do what's right.
Let me maybe just clear the air with this. The difference with the Mayberry as opposed to this one was, the Mayberry, I've been searching various properties, the properties that are being annexed. In their restrictions and declarations, the one in Mayberry, there is a restriction on the title work that shows the city of Sylvania, they can be annexed. It's in the title work, that's public record. The difference in this case is, the declaration and restrictions on these properties do not highlight that. So what these poor people are doing is they're buying their house, they're thinking they're in the township, they go to the city of Sylvania to have their water turned on, they slip a piece of paper across the table and say, you want a shower, you want green grass? You're paying the water. Big difference in what we couldn't do in Mayberry than we can do this. I'm not disagreeing with you one bit. I believe it's a good idea that we do set aside some monies towards that. But I think, so there's two different distinct issues here. The one, these poor folks have not had, if they're not, the four properties I've looked at in the last 2 days, there's no restrictions for water until you go to the water department, and if you don't sign it, they don't serve you water. The restrictions in Mayberry, it was in the title work. That's the difference. So,
Well, we're looking all the way out Sylvania Metamora. I mean, cobblestones, all those are supplied by city water. So, you know, again, we need to figure out where and what ones are covered and, you know, what is the legal ramification. Again, I looked at the joint economic development agreement that we had with the city, and I mean, that was the first thing you guys promised, was we wouldn't fight annexation if it was residential in nature. And here we are. I mean, John, come on, it was in all the emails and things that you sent. So, again, I'm with you. I think we all stand opposed to this, but again, I think that it's, you know, it's up to us.
Well, like Neil said, they're a little different, but I'd like to keep it to the meeting.
Well, I'm asking the board to set aside money for an attorney, and let's get moving on
Well,
that.
you know, we're 3 trustees, and sometimes we can't confer with each other. Let me tell you what
That's why I'm doing it in public, sir.
No, but I've been meeting with the group, and I handled this the same as Mayberry. On Mayberry, we said, if you hire an attorney, we'll join you. And that's what I've told the group. I think Mike, I'm not sure which meeting Mike was at, but that's what I've told the group, that if they feel strong enough to hire an attorney, I would think we should join them, probably with a different attorney. I'm not sure we can mix the money, and then I would go to the state and see if they would join us, where we would have 3 of us participating, but I don't think we can mix the funds. Now, I may be wrong, and we've got legal counsel here, but that's the approach I've already told the group. I don't mind you two changing, we're all together here. This forced annexation is a lot different than when people come to us and want to be in the city. This is, in my mind, horrible.
Well, my fear was
So
that
what
these
is that?
residents would go up in front of the county commissioners and say, you know, everyone's opposed to this, and you know the first thing the city's gonna bring out is that joint economic development that you two passed, and say...
have you read that, Jim?
I have, and I read all the emails that were corresponding with it.
It was a memorandum of understanding. It's not even...
Well, what part of it didn't you understand then?
The understanding was in hopes we could get it worked out. There's no contract.
Well, sir, the first thing that they said was...
It's a memorandum of understanding, big difference.
Okay.
Big
And what
difference.
didn't you understand about it? Because you promised not to do what you're doing.
They didn't, we didn't, they
We
did.
didn't.
What do you mean? They didn't say they weren't going to annex. We said we wouldn't fight it.
No,
No, we didn't.
they never,
Well, I mean, I'll put the emails out online, but...
wait a minute, if you read it...
Let's stay positive here.
We are! Well, that's why I'm trying to get ahead, and I don't see a resolution other than...
I'm not disagreeing with you, we need an attorney, okay?
Okay.
Great, let's move on. What else do we want to talk about?
Let's
We all
go.
agree on that.
Okay.
Okay, let's go.
Well, do we want to set aside monies, or what are we going to do?
Well, I think we could instruct the administrator, it's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
So it comes from the general fund, and I think if we pass the motion, we would ask John to figure out where we get the funding. Something's going to give here. Am I right, is it the general fund, John?
Yeah, the general fund, sure.
Yeah, so we'd have to cut somewhere, and we're all 3 in agreement.
Yeah.
It's just how we got there, I think, in my mind. And if you want to make a motion, I certainly will second it, but I'd like to condition it upon us supporting our citizens that are opposing this. That's my thought. And then I will, as I've committed, try to see if the state would join us.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Make a motion, and I'll second it.
Well, last time I made a motion, no one seconded, so I'll leave that up to you guys. If we want to instruct Mr. Franklin to move forward with it, then...
I'll make the motion that if the citizens hire legal counsel, that we join that action with a budget of $20,000.
But, excuse me, you want the citizens to hire attorneys first?
Well,
I think it'd be the other way
that's
around.
what we did with,
Well, Mayberry, but it didn't work, so why don't
no,
you
it
guys...
didn't work. Yes. Mayberry's a little different.
Well, I know, but why don't you hire the attorney, and maybe, we've got, 5 or 6 subdivisions, I can't speak for all of them.
Yeah,
So,
Well, I
you
think
guys hire the attorney, maybe we can back you up.
that sounds great. We'll instruct Mr. Zeigler to start coordinating, maybe interview Chuck Bloom and whoever else that wants to.
Well, we should probably have a motion.
I would, yeah, I request the trustees send me some names of
Okay.
attorneys I know.
I made a motion that we join with the citizens, and I don't know that we have a second yet,
Yes, second.
and a budget of $20,000, John.
Call the roll, Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Absolutely, yes.
Neil also attended the meeting. Neil, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, and then that's kind of what my findings are at this juncture.
You know what you might do, if you mentioned looking for legal counsel, you might contact the Ohio Township Association and see who's up maybe in this neck of the woods that is doing that work, that has some expertise in it. And then, or even if it's a little further away with the communications we have today, I mean, we could easily have them sitting in their office and talking to us too, but the first thing is to find a resource to tell us who's doing the work, and that, because there's usually probably half a dozen or so, a dozen people maybe around the state that are good at it, are experts at it, and I think that's who maybe the Township Association could direct us to, along with anyone knows of someone,
And maybe a resident, got a vested interest in it.
I'd like to suggest too, that we consider a letter to the editor. As you both know, we sent out 400 letters, because we're not sure, but we've covered all 6 subdivisions that we know about, and we've gotten about 4 calls back. Some people, we sent a letter to, and they don't know what's going on, they haven't talked to their neighbors, and they didn't get anything from the city. So I think it would be good on our part to write a letter to the township taxpayers and see if we can get it in the Sylvania Advantage. And if you two are willing, I'll draft a letter and give it to Mike and Mr. Zeitler, Mike Jones, and let them, clean it up and let them decide on what the letter should say. But I think if we use the letter we mailed out to the citizens, it may not express what we want to say to our taxpayers. And if you guys are okay with that, I'll make a motion that I draft a letter and give it to Mike and John, and they follow up and get it in the paper. I'd also like to have the calculations we did with the values of the home. I've never seen the city's calculations. I don't know if you two have, but I've certainly read in the paper what they're saying, and it's not even close to being accurate.
As long as we get to see a chance to see the letter like you did last
Oh,
time.
no, we'll do that.
Okay.
You'll get a draft. You'll get a draft from me, and if you have comments, please call Mike and John.
Second.
Okay, call the roll, Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
We
Thanks for
appreciate
coming
everything
tonight.
you're doing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're down to approval of the minutes of the December.
You want to get Bill Tallison? It's up to you.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, excuse me. Thank you. Bill, could you step up? I'm sorry, I forgot we moved you up on the agenda.
Bill recently retired December 31st after 44 years.
Just found that out tonight.
Yes, and so I was working with the chief and deputy chief, I'm putting a few things together, talking with both of them today. In the next 30 days, I think we're going to be losing 99 years of experience on the police force. And, when I look at the force we have out there, not only is it getting a younger face, but so many of those faces have been influenced on the 3 people that will be leaving. And I don't think there's anybody more so than Mr. Towson. And so, again, I asked the department to put together all the thank yous and things, and the stories that I heard were just amazing. Mr. Towson's timing just incredible. The lives he saved, including one this summer. I mean, it just is amazing. And truly, this community is so much better for having him on board, and we wanted to say thank you. And I know the chief has written up 2 things on Mr. Towson and Jerry Coster. And unfortunately, Jerry had some health issues right after retirement. And so he just got home from the hospital today and was unable to make it tonight. But certainly the 2 of them have served our community well, and wanted to wish them congratulations and best wishes in retirement.
Awesome.
You'll get your longevity check here shortly, so you can pay it into that, so.
That's the best thing, you right, Bill?
I'm sure Mike will follow up with something with the paper. And Bill, we sure appreciate your years of service. Last year, I visited the police department and rode along with Bill. He certainly knows his territory, and he's very visual out there, especially with the businesses. I mean, he's not driving down the road. He's in the parking lots. He's waving to the employees, and I'll tell you, you're going to be hard shoes to fill, Bill. Did you have any comment?
No, he's a good guy. He did well deserved. Thanks for doing that, John.
Okay. Approval of the minutes of our December 18th meeting. I'll move approval.
What were the changes that went out today? I tried to scan it, but I wasn't.
They were, well, I suggested the changes. There was a second withdrawn by Mr. Mahoney, and the other was that you weren't present at the executive session. I thought that should be on the record. Did I have any other changes? I called Mr. Simcoe and went over the changes. I think those were the 2.
Yeah, we sent them out to you, John.
I got them, but I mean, it's today, and I'm approving them now, and again, I'm looking at them, and I don't know what was changed, and that's why I requested in the future, if we do make changes, because the other ones went out last week, that we make them in red, so I can see where the
I saw your
changes.
email.
Who's wearing red?
If you want to delay this.
No, I don't have any problems with it, I just, again, I think it's unfair for Neil and I, who have full-time jobs, and who might not have the opportunity to see that. A lot of times I'm on the road and come right here, and I don't check my email, so it's catching me off guard, and certainly when there's changes made, it's, like, why would
Do you want to
changes to
just
the minutes
delay
be
this?
made?
That's fine with me.
Fine.
Well, let's delay it till the next meeting.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with that. Next item is to set our regular meeting schedule for next year. Right. Well, I guess we're into it for this year. Yeah, I'm sorry.
We need the days that you would like it and the times on those days.
Well, I suggest we keep what we have, first and third Tuesday, 5:30, and then we do zoning at 6. I think that's worked out pretty well.
It's up to you, but could I suggest
Sure.
instead of having the zone at 6, we could always just move zoning to the top of the agenda at the 5:30.
Well, I think the reason, and John, I think you love the discussion. I think we wanted to give people that work a chance to come here,
Okay.
and I think 5:30 might be a little inconvenient.
Well, sometimes I've found, or a couple times, we've had the zoning, we've had to, wait, we have the meeting called, and then I personally would like to see them at 5, start the meeting at 5, and then we can always make adjustments if we have something going on with zoning. We can adjust our agenda and put it in the agenda. If we know, now we might miss once in a while where, it's a big deal and we didn't catch it, that it was gonna be a big deal. But generally, we're pretty flexible on working with people on these things, but if we started at 5, I think I always felt we had more success at 5. And then if we have something, we can do it at 5:30. People can frankly get out of here just a little bit earlier after our meeting. the trustees can, the employees can. So it's whatever you guys want to do, but I thought I wanted to mention starting at 5 and
Is that
we can always
for,
adjust it for zoning.
are you suggesting our township meeting at 5?
Yeah, starting at
And what about
5:30.
zoning? Would
Well, we
you-
can always adjust, sometimes the zoning, we know that no one comes and we just run through it in the routine, of the meeting. But if we have like a hearing, we're gonna have a hearing and we know, then we just adjust the agenda and we maybe put zoning first, or maybe we do it at 6 o'clock, but we just.
Yeah, I'm a little hesitant about people that want to come for zoning, and they got to be here at 5. That might mean,
No, we do the zoning a little bit later. We've always done the zoning a little bit later anyway. We can just move it down in the agenda.
what do you think, John?
I think, the more involved the community and residents are, the better, and I think pushing it back that half hour, I think we've seen more people here, and I think it does allow, if we've got a zoning issue, even if if we don't say it's at 6, but we kind of, like Dave says, time it out a little bit better and push it to the end, I think we'll get more people here and...
Hey Greg, are you listening in on us? Sorry. So you as a surveyor with your clients, would they want to get home early for dinner and get here at a good hour, or would they want to come, 5:36, what do you think?
I'd rather come at 5 and get home early myself.
And I think a lot of residents do like that also. And the reason I like the 5 o'clock is because we still have staff on board at 4:30, so if we needed last minute emergency issue or something done from Janet, I can still see Vicky at 4:30 and still have a chance to talk to her before the 5 o'clock meeting. So I'm okay with either one. I like 5 o'clock, but that's just, I like the fact that I can still go see staff when they're still here. Because I've always got questions for them before I see them, before the meetings. Sorry, guys. But not just you guys, not just the managers, but the internal staff, so. Just
Sounds like we have a consensus. I'm letting you guys, I'm retired, so you tell me what you want to do.
You're the chairman.
Well,
John's kind
it
of...
sounds like there's a consensus for 5 o'clock.
Well, I don't know, but...
If we can move up the zoning, we will. If we think it's controversial, I guess we'll try to do 6. Is that what
So
we're
we
saying?
try to facilitate,
Yeah.
like, we're gonna have a controversial thing, or we can tell usually, we know, then we have to accommodate the citizens.
Well, we'll just move it up in our agenda.
We had more confusion with these split times.
I agree.
You know what, I think keep it simple and stupid. 5 o'clock, I gave you my reasons why I think we should do it at 5. If we want to do it at 5:30, you can do it at 5:30. I mean, it doesn't
No,
matter
that's
to me.
good.
You do it at midnight.
Is that okay with you, John? You got it, John? Mr. Zeigler, 5 o'clock?
Well, yeah, the motion would be that the township meetings will be the first and third Tuesday, starting at 5 o'clock. Also, if there is a holiday on Tuesday, the meeting will be moved to Wednesday. And if there's an election on Tuesday, the meeting will be moved to Wednesday. So we'll cover all that. And now,
Do you need a motion?
yeah, you do the, we have a resolution in front of you.
I'll make the motion.
You have a second?
Second.
Hey, Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Now that we set the meetings, there's one thing that we have to clear up. Today's the 8th, technically the third Tuesday will be next week. We can have a meeting next week, no problem, or we can hold it the 22nd. But we can do it either one, and we can have, then after that, it'll be every other, first and third. So for next week, do we want it the 15th next week, or do we want to move it back to the 22nd?
What do you think, Jim?
I'm not available the 22nd, so I'd like to keep it on the 15th.
Okay, and that will be the third.
That's fair.
Fine, I think that's good.
Just want to make sure that's good.
Okay. Did you have any comments, John, on the appointments? Go through those next, or did you have any comments on it?
No, the board will have to make the appointments now at this time.
I've got that. The first one is the enterprise zone negotiating team. It says chairman of the board, so I'm willing to do that. The next one is health district council. It says chairman of the board. I'll be willing to do that. The next one is Sylvania Area Joint Recreation District, and Dave, you've been doing that last year. What are your thoughts, or?
I'll do it.
Are you willing to?
Yeah.
I'd be happy to do it.
guess we'll need a motion then.
I'll make a motion that Dave Simcoe serves as Sage Yard Board for the 2019.
Second?
Call the roll, Mr. Genowine.
No.
Mr. Crandall.
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney.
Yes.
Community Action Team, that's SCAT, I'm there presently, but, and I guess I'll do it again if I have to, but that's my third year there, and I try the best I can to not serve over 3 years. There might be one exception, but I'm wondering if you, John, or you, Neil, would like to do SCAT. I know you had
I don't think I'll get a second, so I'm gonna turn it down.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as I can give up, because you and I carry most of the board, you and I do most of the board appointments, so.
Oh, that's-
You know, I just volunteered for one, so don't try and push that
I
down
don't have
on
so
me.
much time, so.
You're not volunteering for SCAT, are you?
I am not. I volunteered for the rec district.
Okay. I just wanted to make that clear.
I wanted to make it clear as well.
Neil, would you mind doing it?
My attendance wasn't very good.
Well, if you have that
So-
problem again, I'll do it.
Okay, I'd be more than happy to do it.
All right.
Yep. It just was the timings that they had.
Yep,
You know,
I
those
remember.
meetings are,
I think you
you know-
had soccer or something,
Yeah.
if I recall. Toledo Metropolitan Area Council of Governments, Neil, that was
That's
you?
me, yeah.
Is that the chair or you?
I only made a handful of meetings last year.
It's not the chair, it doesn't have to be the chair.
No, I know that. I see that. But I didn't know if that meant any one of us, or... Would you, I can do that when I do it anyway, so I'm not...
That, or if you want to do the senior center, because I can switch with you on the senior center, because that's.
Which would you
That's a
prefer?
pretty time consuming also.
Which would you prefer?
I'll stay with senior center.
Okay, then I'll take Temakog. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's great.
You okay with that, John?
Yeah.
Sylvania, this is indefinite. I think, Neil, since you've got, that is at, where once a year they have a meeting with SCS. And I think you're on there, it says indefinite. So is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Tax incentive review, that's Mr. Zeitler. And we've got Cut Smith, but we'll have a change there. Right. Welcome aboard. Just got your first
Hey, go
assignment.
ahead, Ron.
Lucas County EMS Advisory Board, John, you're on there with Mike Graham. Are you okay with
Yeah.
continuing that? The 9/11 Board, that's Mike Ram again, and you, John?
Yes.
Okay. Township Investment Committee is Neil? You okay with
Yeah,
that?
fine with
Neil?
that.
Sylvania Fall Festival Committee is Mike Ram. You okay with that, Mike? We appreciate you working with them. External board appointments, Sylvania Area Joint Recreation District. I'm sorry?
It's not on that resolution. This is just internal.
Right, that's just the internal we're doing right now.
Right.
Yes. Oh, you want a resolution on the internal?
That's-
All right, I'll move to approve the internal appointments.
Second?
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
No.
External board. No, that's not till later on. Oh, that isn't? This meeting or? No, later on in the agenda. The next item on the agenda is the... I got it, thank you.
Establish a mileage allowance for 2019. The IRS has set the mileage allowance at 58 cents a mile. We will adopt that resolution, which we can reimburse mileage at 58 cents a mile.
I'll move approval.
Second?
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Additions or deletions, I think we took care of that already to the agenda. Hearing of the public for agenda items only.
I don't think anyone signed, no one signed in.
All right? We'll move on to the zoning department.
We just have the appointments of someone to the BZA, another person to the zoning commission, and an alternate for each. Sammy had provided you with the names, and I had sent an email that indicated I would like to continue working with those board members, that they had done a fantastic job, and getting people up and running on them is not always an easy thing to do, and currently these boards are very dedicated and very thoughtful in their decisions.
So that's resolution 18004, is that correct?
Well, I'm
Yes.
wondering, John, could we combine and approve these, or no? You want separate?
I will do separate.
All right.
Each one has the first.
I'll move resolution 18004, appoint a member to the zoning board of appeals.
It's 19004, although it's a misprint on the
Oh, yeah,
thing
yes.
as well.
Thank you.
Are we going to the BZA?
Second?
Just throw the name in there.
Tom Helberg?
Can we do both of them at the same time, Tom and Jason?
Sure.
Okay, well, then on is that 19005?
04,
Oh, we're doing 04, okay. Mr. Genowine?
yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Hey, Helberg's a TV star.
And I'll move resolution 19005 to the zoning commission. Who is that?
John King?
John King? I think he's vice chair, right?
Yes.
Do we have a second?
Second?
Hey, Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
And we also have an alternate for the zoning commission.
And who is that, please?
The name has escaped me.
Joe Belinsky.
Joe Belinsky.
Joe Belinsky.
All right. Good old Joe. I'll move resolution 19006, appoint Joe Belinsky as an alternate member of the Board of Appeals.
Actually, John, if you don't mind me interrupting you, we've already approved 06 with 04, because we did two of them, so this would be for 07, sorry.
I think we did them separately.
Oh, 04?
Well, we talked about combining.
Okay, that's fine.
I think, John.
So the alternate zoning appeals would be Jason Levine, BZA.
Okay. You want to combine those and approve?
No, actually, they're separate ones. BZA is Jason Levine.
All right.
Mr. Crandall moved 19-006, and then we need a second?
Yes.
For Jason Levine, second.
Second.
All right.
Okay, Mr. Genowine?
Yep.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
I'll move resolution 19007. This must be Joe then, is that right? Alternate to the zoning commission,
Correct.
Joe Belinsky.
Yes.
Mr. Crandall moved, we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Genowine?
Yep.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Thank you, Colleen. We're going to miss you,
Thanks.
but I understand it's a good opportunity for you.
It is,
I
thank you
think
very
we
much.
all appreciate the service.
I know, I'm sorry to be leaving so soon. It was not expected or sought after. So,
Good things happen to good people, so.
well, I thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Rob? Road and Service Department?
Evening. I have two items on the agenda, two resolutions, but before I go over those, I just want to briefly mention that the city of Sylvania has went back out and started their leaf pickup again, and confused some of our residents. They publicized it, they sent text messages, put it on the news and stuff, so at this point, the city ceased their leaf pickup operations the first time around December 15th on or about. We continued because the weather allowed it up until January 4th. So all the zones of woods received 5 leaf pickups. So I feel at this time that another pickup is not warranted. I ran the streets the last 2 days. There are piles out, but if we went and did another pickup, there would still be piles out after that, as long as the weather is the way it is right now.
Rob, let me ask you a question. Just, what would our guys be doing if, would they just be working on maintenance, or what would they be doing if they?
Right now, we're at the end of leaf season, we tear down our equipment. It is a lot of equipment. We have to disassemble it, the mechanics, just about every employee is involved in it. We have to clean it, prepare it for storage. Then at that point, all the vehicles have to be serviced because of the leaf equipment dust and the operations that we're doing. And each vehicle takes about 4 hours. It's just not a normal service. They have to actually disassemble some of the truck to get into the air conditioning units and other things to blow them out. And then our guys are preparing those trucks for winter operations. They gotta put the leaf box, or the salt spreaders on. It gives us time to calibrate the equipment for the salt, for the brine equipment. We do some painting on that equipment so it lasts over the season, because the rest of that leaf equipment sits all summer and spring until we pull it back out, so.
So that email I sent you today on St. James Woods, did you see that at all?
I did. I responded to her. I thought it was an appropriate response. I was just giving her the facts. I really wasn't, she didn't appreciate the response. Out of the about 28,000 residents, 29,000, I've received about 6 negative complaints. I've received maybe twice as many thank yous for the extra round we did do, specifically in those heavily wooded areas. So I think we are in good shape. That doesn't mean there's not leaves on the roads, but regardless, if we went around one more time, it would be a costly event. As far as fuel and manpower as well, we've sent our part-time employees back to their services, so we no longer have them as well. So it would take us actually a little longer to do another round than it normally does.
Did you say you did 5 rounds?
We did 5 rounds.
I think the city's on your 3rd round, is that?
Yeah.
Do you know if that's correct?
I don't know if that is correct. I know that they operate a little differently than how we do. We do a roving patrol through each grid every time, so we don't miss a street, and we do it systematically. This year we did change up a few things. We provided additional pickup in some of the heavily wooded areas like St. James, because we tried to scale back the contractors a little bit and use more of our internal employees using vacuum trucks instead of the leaf loaders like you see in the major cities. They use those big loaders, and a lot of the residents complain about those. They are messier. So we cut those way back, and we provided a little bit more overtime. I used the money for the contractors and diverted it into the overtime funds for those. So, but I just wanted to give you a heads up, if you do receive emails regarding the leaf pickup and the confusion, it was put out by their administration to go back out for whatever reason, and I think part of that is that they really did shut down fairly early. But that was their advertised shutdown date, so it wasn't something they weren't aware of coming.
You guys did a great job this year. I know the leaves didn't fall till late, and still you've made the 5 times through the neighborhoods, and certainly, I think you got all of them in my neighborhood, so.
I mean, the weather helped us out quite a bit, thank you, but the weather wasn't the biggest factor. Now it is kind of hindering us, because usually when the snow comes, people stop putting stuff out, but if we go back and pick them up, we're going to make just as many more people mad, because the people who have taken their leaves and paid to have them removed, now we're going to say, you didn't tell us that, and I'll get just as many complaints about that. So, any other questions?
Probably haven't had that many, with 28,000 people, 6 or 7 calls.
6 or 7
That's
calls so
pretty good.
far, yeah. But I presume there are going to be more. That's why I wanted to give you a heads up. You may see more emails directly to you about the pickup, because there is some confusion, and it may take another week before they call, why didn't my leaves get picked up? Unfortunately, some people signed up for the city's text alert system that live in the township. I don't know why they would have signed up for that, but they did, and they got the alert, and they were confused about who, they just see Sylvania, they live in Sylvania, so
they put their leaves out. Those are the calls that I'm getting now, that receive those alerts, so. Hopefully, we can clarify that with just a little bit more advertisement and education to the residents later.
Do you want to address the resolutions for equipment? I know we all got a report from you, and these are...
I did provide you my annual report, and in that report discusses my 5-year capital improvement plan, kind of lays out what we foresee equipment that needs to go or replaced, and tonight's resolution reflects, the two of those reflect one of those pieces of equipment. So if you had a chance to read it, if not, I can review it with you at any time if you have any questions on it.
I'll offer resolution 19-010, authorized purchase of HV 607 truck chassis.
I'd like to amend that resolution, just a small typo in there. It is a 2020, not a 2019 chassis.
I'll second.
Okay, I'll call Mr. Gentleman.
Yes.
Mr. Crandall.
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney.
Yes.
Thank you. And if you can see the invoice quote on the second page of that, if it's up there, Sam. They were generous and gave us a pretty good price on the trade-in as well.
Yeah, I thought the trade-in was...
Yeah.
I'll offer resolution 19-011, authorized to advertise for bid for the upfit of one International HV 607 chassis.
I'd like to amend that as well to 2020. Thank you.
Sorry.
I'll second it as amended. How's that?
Mr. Crandall.
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney.
Yes.
Mr. Gentleman.
Yes.
Thanks, Rob.
Rob, I know a member of your department, Al Hassenfratz, has certainly been recognized many times over and over, but certainly this last one being a national recognition. If you could type something up and maybe present it to the board next week, I think it would be important for this board to recognize his accomplishments.
Absolutely. We had a meeting this morning and basically recognized him in the department, but I certainly can put that together. I was under the impression that the fire department, I had a discussion with Mr. Ram, and he was going to do that.
Yeah, he got all the TV time.
Okay.
And then it came to you, so.
So I would be happy to do that.
Yes.
To do that, that would be my honor. But I was under the impression that Mike was going to do it with the board as well.
Okay.
He will be recognized. He goes down to Florida in the National EVT Conference down there. He does that on his own time. We don't pay for him to do that because it really doesn't, the actual event doesn't benefit the township as much as some of the other things he participates in, but they were going to recognize him down there as well in the conference, so.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Mike, you're up next, fire department. Anything? I don't think you have anything. Unless you have anything for Mike? What's that? You have anything for him? I don't. Do you, John? Chief Ron? Anything? Anything for Chief Ron? Nope. That brings me up with resolution 19008. It's resolution to intend to sell property by internet auction. ORC section 505.10 requires the Board of Trustees annually to pass a resolution that they wish to possibly sell items by the internet and who we will use to sell those items. So that's this resolution. We've done it now for many, many years.
Is there something we're selling now, or is this just a blanket?
This is just blanket, so we can do it during the year.
Okay.
I'll have resolution 19008 to intent to sell property by internet auction.
Second.
Mr. Crandall.
Yes.
Mr. Gentleman.
Yep.
Mr. Mahoney.
Yes.
Trustee Crandall, this is resolution 19009, and it's the appointment to the SAGR board. And I'll turn that over to the board. Well, I think we only have one applicant, isn't that correct? And that's Greg Feller. Greg is moving to the township, and he would be replacing Dave Spees.
I'll offer resolution 19009 to approve Greg Feller to the appointment to Sageyard.
Second?
Mr. Gentleman.
Yes.
Mr. Crandall.
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney.
Yes.
And Greg, welcome to the township. Is it simple? Do you have anything?
No, I don't.
And we've already did the, offering to the public. We probably ought to hear, is there anybody here with something that's not on the agenda? I don't think anybody signed in. Okay, good. Thank you. I'll make a motion to go into executive session for personnel non-union at 6:24.
Second?
Mr. Gentleman? No. Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.